political decisions that this country is making, do they reflect on the desires of the Kenyans? When we have leaders that have been implicated in very serious scandals that involve millions and to say billions of money getting appointed and approved by parliament that is supposed to be the custodian and guardian of the constitution, go ahead and decide we have no case against this man. In fact, the ODPP writing to EACC requesting, or should I say demanding, that the cases against some individuals that have been nominated and finally appointed to be dropped. This is a serious concern. So battering this constitution has not happened just because it started today. I want to reflect on the leadership of the then government called the Jubilee government. We had numerous court orders disobeyed left, right, and center. But today, we want to say the best man that ever happened to be on planet Earth, and in Kenya for that matter, yes, he was a drunkard, but he was a nice guy. This is the man that ensured that the rule of law means nothing in this country. I mean, I have no particular hate of love for Miguna, but truth be told, we saw the courts giving enough orders that were in favor of that gentleman. But what did the then administration do? They kept defying this. So we have created an ending cycle of abuse and misuse of political powers and political offices. And number two, extensive butchering and massacring of this very, I dare call it, holy document and spirit we call the Constitution. So the Kenyans today, as we are demanding and asking for accountability, what role are we playing in advancing that conversation? It's something we need to all come and question. Thank you.
Thank you, Eli. And I want to allow now the plenary to speak because I think we've put in our opinion. I'd like to hear what Simon Gadoni has to say, and then I'd have Ndagush, and then followed by Marabu Stokes.
Hi guys, Gadoni here speaking. Like, me I'm just offended. Kano nini? Mtu wa kwanza anani-offend ni Kembaso Morara. Huyu jamaa anatuma ni feel vibaya kila siku. Kila siku. I don't know, like, tafanya aje Morara tu atulie kwanza. Pressure ina increase. Like, pressure inatoka 100 inaenda to 200 every day. Kuna the previous mwenye ameongea hapo amesema, like, stories za kina Kalonzo. By the way, like, I didn't pay attention. These people, they are all together in the, like, they are on the same side. It's a match between Kenyans and the political people. So, like, it's time we decide. Me, the next person, like, I think the only person mwenye anaweza kuja aburudozi kazi is the only person mwenye tunawezeka hapo tukua kama, like, the young people. Gen Z, like, the only people mwenye tunawezeka kuja aburudozi kitu. Like, corruption yenye Ruto hazi uncover ni yenye walifanya na Uhuru. So, like, tukisema watu waletwe into books, hakuna mtu ataletwa. Imagine tunashinda hapa tukisema sijui baba amefanya tuachane na yeye. It's our time sahi. Like, we should do kenye tunafaa kuwa tunafanya sahi. Like, imagine kama unataka kujua, like, hawa sasa wanakuwa pamoja na mtu ama Kikuyu na mtu anaenda kushinda akipraise Uhuru hapo. I don't know what the fuck unafanya kila siku. Kila siku sijui ni kenye unafanya. Like, mimi nimeona I don't know kenye nitasema. Pressure tu inapanda. Skari tu like, sijui kama ni mimi mtakuwa mnachota, sijui niende tu Mumias niwape skari yangu. Inapanda kila siku. We people, we need to decide. It's either now or never. Hakuna venye tutakuwa tunaona watu wanatuibia and we are happy about that thing. Hatuwezi kufanya kazi hivyo. Like, tuache kuongea story ati kina Kalonzo wamefanya. Wako in the same political nini. Kalonzo Kenya amekuwa deputy president, si ndio? like alifanya nini? Corruption cases ngapi alileta nini? The same watu wanakuja like huyu bibia bona nini, baba yake na Shalin amekuwa kwa hizo government zingine zote. Let's be factual hapa. Sometimes we need to be factual. Si ati tunakuja hapa tunaanza kusema sijui nani akosaidia yetu. The only person mwenye atatusaidia ni mtu mwenye hata sisi sasa hatujui ni nani. Mtu hajakuwa kwa government, mtu hajakuwa involved na hizi government ati kwa hizi mess, is the only person anaweza tusaidia. So
Simon,
I don't know.
Just engage me here, because you see, we are looking at what we've been able to do, but at the same time, we must have some sort of a picture that we want to achieve as a people. We can't say we don't know what to do. And again, it is very true that even when you have people who are in the political class, they do not all necessarily be bad, because whether you like it or not, there's something called institutional memory. We can remove everybody we want, but what we want to achieve, and I think that for me has been the problem. And if you listen to what Wanyama said, it was very important that he asked, are we where we wanted to be, or we are in a place where we find ourselves and we're just trying to deal with what we find ourselves in? I want to come back to you on that, and I request that somewhat we mind our language. I'd request that we can have an argument and remain very civil. And that I'd request that we do that. So, Simon, I'd come back to you because I think there's something you haven't addressed, and I'd want to hear exactly what plan we have, what's the picture that we want to paint, where do we want to be, or where do we envision ourselves vis-a-vis when we started in 2010, we had a plan and a dream. Are we there? No, yes. Why? And what's the issue? So I go to Ndagush. What's your take?
Thank you so much. My take is that from the achievements that we have had as a people, we're very sure that if only we decide, we can really move mountains in this country. The things we are able to achieve within the short fraction of time that we are on the streets tells us that our voice can be magnified by our actions. But I only feel that we lack one thing that's the key thing in any movement: unity. We have been together online, like right now, of all these people on the speaker panel, many people, we just meet online. We are friends online, Anthony, Ayo, data analysts and other people here. But on the ground, we are not there to even have a solid plan and decide that from the people who are interested in this movement, one of us who can lead us is this guy. If person A have shown clear leadership skills that we can second and support, that way we can have, let's not say that we don't have a leader, that our movement is leaderless. The longer we remain leaderless, the more time we are giving the enemy to re-strategize. Tunasamanga tribeless, sijui what, but one of the things we should not have is leaderless. All the other lessons we can have, but leaderless, it's not, we are going nowhere, because you know why we failed? Like, things are falling apart because we just lacked representatives. And the people who are getting there wearing our mask, they are taken there by empty stomachs. So after, within no time, we just find that our thoughts cannot be projected by anyone because we lack unity.
Ndagush, sorry for interrupting you.
Yep.
I want to ask you a question from where you sit as a Kenyan, where you are. what do you think you have done? What do you think you have done to better the situation? I don't want us to just lash out. I want us to also be solution providers, okay? Speak from a point of solution provision, from where you sit, other than complaining and pouting. Like Wanyama said, we can't just sit there and complain and complain. What have you done as a Kenyan that holds a Kenyan passport or a Kenyan ID or a Kenyan birth certificate? What have you done to make the situation even much lighter or even much better for your community around you?
To answer your question, I was on the streets. I was actively there. So when the finance bill was being brought down or scrapped off, I was part of the people that were seen on the streets that really shook the people who were driving the finance bill. Now, leaving alone what we did in the past, because now the situation is no better. What we can do, according to me, from where I see it, is that we need to reunite with a stronger spirit, like tukuwe na unity. We conquer fear, let our patriotism drive us. If we decide this is what we want, we follow. For instance, this is the time that we need more pressure. We need to pressure the government more at this time than even earlier we did. Because right now, the executive has the parliament by the balls. The parliament, the legislature, is no longer the people's representative. So the only people that we are very sure are on our side are we, the people who are being oppressed. So to solve this whole equation, given that right now the parliament, the government have got tyranny numbers everywhere, go to parastatus. Ruto amezishika on tribal grounds. Just look for the heads of parastatus. Go to the judiciary. To the judiciary now, anything can happen. In a delivery room, naweza sikia mtu amekuja hapo akuwa support. And what would we do? We just go to the streets, but because we can protest against law, a certain law that's oppressing us, but we cannot change it. That's the only thing we lack. So we need representation. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Obed. Just a minute.
Allow me.
Obed. Yep.
I'm sorry, I'm interjecting, but also just in line with what you're saying. Do you realize that as Kenyans, we have a private members bill? We can present actually a bill to parliament. It is possible, and have a change on a law if it's practical and if we have it together. Do you know that we can do that?
Shall it require the members of parliament's participation?
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, at least why don't you be on record that you've tried to do something?
Yeah, at least now those are the kinds of actions that I'm telling you we need to decide, and we can only decide if we are united, we are together. Because when you go there alone, your voice cannot be heard. By the way, so according to me, we as Kenyans, we need to accept the fact that we are our own representatives. So when you're saying that we are going to demand accountability, have you visited the auditor's website? There are so many statements like it could not be accounted for at the time of audit. And we are talking about millions, hundreds of millions, tens of millions. So it's a big fish eats small fish kind of a society. So the only thing we can do to solve this, given that now we cannot keep on crying over spilled milk, despite now occupying these places that we normally say, we need to occupy parliament from inside. Because like right now, Ruto have got the parliament democratically. We elected these people who are inside there, who are his allies. So akona wao inside, but they are democratically elected. We don't know how easy it is to dissolve the parliament. I don't know about that. I'm not a political expert, But he also have got now hold of the opposition by sycophancy. Anaweka kwa gava so that now wafurahi, and now the opposition is in full support because now kama Wandai, the minority leader, is for him. Who else? So what we are doing, we need to occupy the parliament from inside. And we can only do that democratically. We become the legislature. We become, we of this, with this mind of revolution, we be the majority in these assemblies.
As you land?
In these assemblies. So now, because this ruling class, even if you are saying that there are some few, most of them are birds of a feather. They have been together, huku. They have been in corruption deals together. This one is auditing this one, but they were in the deal. So what we do, let's try our best and get new faces in parliament next time. And we can only do that if we re-strategize right now, and we decide that our leaders are, we want leaders with these qualities. So if we identify that people have got these qualities, we can second them. Then you know that when it comes to campaigning, we need to be also realistic. We cannot just be talking here on
Give it
Twitter.
30 seconds.
Yeah, we cannot be talking here on X saying that we will occupy from inside, and we have not gotten a plan to mobilize the grassroots. Because these people, see, us, we have the idea and we have the goodwill, but these people have got the money, and that's what they use. That's their weapon. So if we form a movement, the other day tulikuwa na mchanga. If we continue with such deals,
Bagush, I want you to land. I want you to
Yes.
land. I want you to land. Other speakers also want to give their
Yeah, I'm
contribution.
landing. I even don't have another
under
point.
30 seconds. Under 30 seconds, kindly land so that we move on to Marabu.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
land kindly.
Okay, so my point is, let's get into action. If it's mchanga, tutoe pesa, and then we identify leaders, we support them, and then we get to the ballot by 2027. The more people we'll have of like mind, the better the faster we can conquer this giant. That's my take.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Nagush. I think it's important that we appreciate that there are many people who would like to put their points across, so that we allow everybody to have their point. What I realized that we lost at the height of the movement, people were offering support using their expertise. I remember we had doctors, setting up a place where people can be supported during the protests. We had people who gave ambulances. And, that's something probably we didn't really, harness. It is something that we can do and learn from and improve on it, because then going forward, if you're good in coding, like Wanyama said, if you're good in, putting together strategy, we be able to come together and utilize our resources and our ability to be able to mobilize. That would help us. Marabu's talk, and then we have Diamonds.
Am I coming through?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, greetings in the name of His Majesty. I'd rather be led by one lion than 1,000 rats. This was a statement made by a Frenchman somewhere in the 1800s. And he was talking about the anarchy that was existing at that time when they had overthrown the king at that time, Bonaparte, and King Louis XVI. And he was trying to make an argument that they allow Napoleon Bonaparte to take over leadership of the French nation. And after this, Napoleon Bonaparte became the de facto leader of France. So why would this statement be true for Kenya today when we say the state of the nation and the conversation shapers? First of all, let me big up Nonini, Smalls, Little, and Ayo, all these people who got engaged and came up with a nice, beautiful song, I'm Offended. It's really beautiful, and I like it, and I'm still using it as my ringtone. Now, back to the matter. Kenya is not short of bright people or people who understand the situation that we are facing. What Kenya is short of is people of courage and commitment. And I say this because every time when you move around in the streets and you try to talk to somebody about what Kenyans are going through, you will hear the same sentiments over and over again. But if you ask that question that Ayo was trying to ask, that what have you done on a personal level to try and change or to try and bring a different perspective, you find that many people cannot answer this, simply because as much as we feel the pain, we don't have the courage to face this bull by the horns. And the reason is because of our history. If you look back historically, people who have stood up against the institution or against the administration are either bought or killed. This is a fact. And so many people know that these dangers exist even up to today. And that is why it is very hard for one individual, unless you really have the tenacity and you really have the courage of a madman who can face a suicidal death, to go against the administration. So it's very hard for you right now looking at Mama Mboga or this border person. When I look at these people psychologically, Mama Mboga is probably a religious person, probably at the end of the day taking money to the husband, being conned every day by the husband, saying God will help me. So this person is easier to be conned by the presidency or by the executive. So they are already committed, and they themselves have already given themselves as the rats, not the lions. So convincing this person to come out of this mindset of the rat mindset, the victim mentality, becomes very hard. When you look at this border person, is somebody who has given his life to that daily hustle, probably superstitious, probably less educated, and has also committed that there is a boss over me at all times. So getting this person out of this perspective is also very hard. So when we come to look at how is it that we can create this paradigm shift among us, the citizenry, when we say that we want to carry out civic education and we want to empower the people are already empowered, but the courage, getting that one lion who's going to stand up out of all these 1,000 rats is what they're waiting for. And that's why when people fail to see some form of leadership under the Gen Z revolution, they feel like there's no one lion. It becomes very hard for people to conform and to come towards the Gen Z direction, because they feel like all these people can lead us nowhere. We need one person who is strong enough, one person who is committed, one person who is wise enough, and who seems like the lion. So if we are saying that we want to change this country, and we don't want to change this country for better or for worse, we just want to change this country from the state it is right now to something better 2027. Not 10 years from now, not 30 years from now, just the immediate thing. We want our debts to be taken by the Constitution. We don't want to see odious debts whereby we borrow money and projects are not done, and we still have to pay 1.1 trillion every financial year for money we don't know what it did. So these are easier steps that I think we can go through legislative means and heal them, than saying that we need a lot of people coming down to this thing. We can find lawyers and say that we are tackling one thing today and we're tackling what? Odious death. And Jimmy Wanjigi really tried to stress this point, and I feel very bad because people don't take Jimmy Wanjigi serious enough. He has tried so many times to really try and open the eyes of Kenyans about these odious deaths. But because it does not come through as that lion, and I'm telling you right now, for Gen Z, it's very hard for us to come up with somebody stronger than Jimmy Wanjigi. And if Kenyans cannot take Jimmy Wanjigi seriously, you have to question the courage and the commitment of these Kenyans themselves to want that change. That this person is suffering but does not want to go to hospital to get medication. Can you force this person to go to the GP to get medication simply because you see they are suffering? And that's the thing that I see with Kenya right now every day in the streets when I walk. I'm a businessman in Nairobi. I have a youth group which I'm the chairman. I wrote the constitution myself. Writing the constitution to me is not some technical issue. I just copied the constitution of another youth group and just copy pasted mine. So it's not something that I consider technical enough. What I consider technical is attacking this government where it hurts. And where it hurts is where the money is. If we can find ourselves and group ourselves, personally, I've decided to join Mizani. I join Anthony in other places and find a way which I can use my voice to follow this money. Because when you follow the money, the politician hurts. And you see this regrouping of the Rutos and the Railas and all this. It's not because they love each other or they care for each other. No, it's because they know that the only thing that is under threat is their money. So if we can find a caucus of a few individuals, we call them these rebels who are after the economic change, people who will go after the money that the politicians are looting with facts and with determination and with courage, I feel that the state of the nation will be better than where we have it today. I don't blame Gen Z for anything. I feel that the revolution was a success because it was the first time we didn't know what we were doing, but what we achieved was great. I had phone calls from all over the world, people congratulating us. So I fault nothing there. What we did is we jumped into darkness and we walked, and we found ourselves on the other end. How we found ourselves there, we're not sure, but we did it. So I know we can do it tomorrow like we did it yesterday. The only reason we still shaky about it is because we haven't found that lion. And I think that is the challenge for us today, to really try and find that lion. Thank you very much, God bless.
Thank you so much, Marabu. I'd allow Diamond to speak, then I come back to you, Wanyama, if that's okay.
Okay.
Diamond?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good evening, good morning, everyone. I don't know wherever you are. So, first of all, I think for me, the movement that the Gen Zs and everybody was part of, or those who are part of, achieved quite a number of things. The only challenge that we had is we kept moving goalposts. So, we wanted the finance bill gone, and when it went, we wanted something else, and when it went, we also wanted something else. So the problem with that, and without proper leadership, is everybody started pulling in a different direction. So what happened is you ended up having some people fighting each other. You ended up having different opinions on what you want next. Other people wanted Ruto gone. Other people wanted the parliament gone. Other people wanted the whole executive gone. So with that type of amorphous structure, it became very, very difficult to even convince somebody on the road why you actually wanted Ruto gone. Because when we wanted the finance bill gone, it was very simple. It had punitive taxes and Kenyans didn't want it. So even if you met someone on the streets and told them, look, your finance bill ni mbaya, they would have understood. The second thing, when we said we didn't want the cabinet, it was also very clear. There were examples why people didn't want the cabinet. And when the cabinet was gone, we came up and said, we don't want Ruto. Now, at that point, because this structure was becoming amorphous, it kept changing form, shape, size, and every other thing. And without proper leadership, it didn't last. So what is my view personally? Number one, I think it's important to have some form of leadership because it gives direction. That's number one. Number two, leadership does not necessarily mean you choose one person to say what and when and how something should be done. It can take a form of a committee. It can take a form of weekly leaders. It can take a form of maybe every 3 months you change and somebody else takes over. I don't know, but I'm thinking for a conversation like this to actually keep going for a very long time, it must have a structure and it must have leadership. That's number one. Number two, in my statement is, remember now, there will be many things that you want to achieve. Many, many things. Number one, this government currently is not obeying any court orders. Any court order against the government, they are not obeying it. Number two, this government today is actually bringing so many, what I would say, bad laws. So you are talking about uh, the funding model for the universities. You are talking about the teachers not being paid, the CPS that they were supposed to be paid. You are talking about the road maintenance levy. You are talking about, there are just quite so many things that are happening. And if you do not have direction, you'll actually end up losing everything. So my view is, what is the goal? The goal is to get into leadership in 2027 and to clean up the current swamp in full. And when I say the swamp, I mean the ODMs, the UDAs, and all these other leaders in their political space today need to actually go home. That is not an easy thing to do. And you can't do it without leadership. With leadership, you can get a political party. With leadership, you can, because a political party, what it will do is it will now bring everybody to a certain basket. So you're able to move towards the same direction. If we do not do that, I can bet all my fingers that everybody that is in power today will actually win back their seats, and we will be here crying again from 2027 to 2032. I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you, Diamond. You say we need to have a formation, a structure, and organize politically, which I think is very urgent. Wanyama, you had something to say, then I'd go back to, we had John Mwangi and Wallace, and then Engineer David. Wanyama?
Can you hear me? Obed.
Yes, 100% I can hear you. And I think just before you say something, Wanyama, KOT Sonko, we're trying to add you to the speaker, but we seem to have a problem. Maybe you drop and then try again. Wanyama, go ahead.
Okay. I hope Marvin has heard that. You can try texting him as well. So I want to say this before I drop from the speaker panel to give others a chance to come up, and I donate my slot to someone else. And this is I think, what I will finalize with in this talk about, us being in these spaces. And I'm speaking both as a Kenyan and someone who hosts spaces, engages in conversations, not only spaces, going to panels, etc., etc. Kenyans, my fellow countrymen, stop that entitlement, in the sense of we are acting and speaking in this fora like we deserve what we are saying. It's more like, I'll say, then someone else will do it. That's what is affecting us the most in our call for whatever we want. In the stage where we are at in the movement, it's either you decide to either be an activist or a politician. You can't be both. Those two things do two different things. If you're going to be an activist, then you call out all the wrongs that is happening. You highlight all these things. Work with media, work with everyone that is supposed to highlight all the wrongs that are happening. Politician, on the other end, does representation. And that's where I'm going to call out everyone who is asking for change and is not doing something. You cannot act like you deserve something. You have to request for your place on the table. And that is through politics. You're playing the politician's game. Why are you not at the table? Why are you asking from the sidelines? Who is going to get there to ask it for you? Is it Okia? No. Okia has a role of representing the Busia County people. Something which the Busia County people need to call him now to power when he's not doing it. Is it Morara? Morara is doing the Lord's work. What if his energy fails? But that is activism. It's not politics. The best he can do is highlight what happens after he highlights. Now that you know that a lot of projects have gone wrong, money has been chewed, utadu. That's where activism now has to hand over to politics and the good leaders that you've decided to get into office. So be an active player in the political space that you are asking the general public to do. and you have a role in governance, whether unajua kuna watu huwa wanasema mimi mambo ya politics staki sijui nini. My people, whether you like it or not, governance is going to affect you. Whether upende ukatae, it's going to affect you. So wake up and decide. In my own small capacity, and I've been singing. If you've been attending any any talk that I've been doing, guys, the person that you need to first of all hold to par is not, tuko na misplaced priorities. We are calling out on the MPs. No, guys, our quick win happen ni MCA, and I'll keep singing to you guys. That's the guy you need to start with. Anza na huyo. And I gave an example today in the morning. The votes that actually get an MCA into office zinakwanga 3K, 1K, 1,500. What does that all show you? These are closed knit communities that have chosen a representative to go to the county assembly, a mirror of the National Assembly. So it means it's someone that you can get in contact with as quickly as possible and a representation of your needs. Barabara inajengwa na MCA. MP akikosa kujenga barabara msilie, si kazi yake. You're asking the wrong person. He's actually right, not building it. Keep the MP to where he does what he's doing best. That is legislation. Keep the MCA where he's doing best, and that's the county assembly to represent what your needs are. In your nyumba kumi, have you raised up your issues? And after you've raised up, usikae ungoje nani atatupelekea, ati chairman atatupelekea. No. Make sure the MCA is involved in that nyumba kumi initiative. And make sure he has taken it to the county assembly. And this idea of people saying, oh, huko governor akishasema ni hivyo, no. Governors can't do anything without the committees in the county assembly. It's a thorough mirror of the National Assembly. Even the governor cannot release funds without the accounts committee in the county assemblies. They have the power and they are closer to you. So if they are able to sit down and decide we are going to impeach a governor, and they do it, they can't actually ask a governor to deliver a road. Guys, tuache kujidanganya. And we are swallowing the narrative of members of parliament and the problem. Guys, our politician has the need to feel essential. Our politician in Kenya ni kama DNA yao. Once you force the MCA to launch the projects zenye ziko hapo kwenu nyumbani, the road, the whatever, that is hapo next to you, Ruto will not get a chance to come and launch it again because your MCA has done the job that he has supposed to do. Fuata huyo mwenye anahitaji kufanya kazi yake. The MP will have to look for something else now to do because barabara imejengwa, shule imejengwa, health has been devolved. If the national government is not doing much, na mnoa pressure, don't be surprised they take it back to the national government. But there is a reason why health was devolved to the local government or the county government. Follow up and see our health officers actually done well in the county government. If they're asking you to pay your taxes, your licenses and everything, guys, don't you think you have a right to also ask that those taxes from the governor's office is working for you? The roads, etc., etc. But the first step is, guys, stop feeling entitled. Stop feeling you deserve. Stop feeling, since nilienda maandamano, I don't need to do anything else. Stop feeling like hii kitu is a one step kind of thing. No, it's a continuous thing. Huwa na joke hapa nasema bana, patriotism haitaki uzembe. Haitaki uzembe. It's a fact, haitaki uzembe. Walk the distance. Walk the marathon. If you can't run, walk. But decide, are you on the activism side or are you on the political side? If you're on the political side, it's time for you to join a collective, be it a political party that is already existing or one that will be formed. But tuache kudanganyana, we are going to have a political solution while we are still confused on whether we are activists or politicians. So hapo ndo intakana to first step, what is the deliverable? If you're an activism side, you can have a plethora of things to do. Media, blah, 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 exposes, hizo vitu zote. You can do all those things. If you decide to go on the politics side, be a good politician. Get mentorship from the right people. Understand what is being done in the political arena. That has to start now. msingoje ati sijui wase watanipiga vita. Whether you do good or you do bad, my fellow youth, get into politics as of now. Start knowing what happens there. By 2027 you'll know Ayo anataka kitu fulani as a someone who's following you. Mizani wants this, so and so wants this. That is now representation. But tukiendelea hapo unakuja unaongeanga tu kwa space, ukitoka unaenda unasema by the way one biggest problem with the movement is sidelining. Kuna wenye waongei, kuna sijui anafanya nini. Guys, on up. Wake up and own up the process and engage and decide what you're going to do. That's it from me, and have a lovely night.
Wanyama, I like what the doctor gave you. That's really a very good diagnosis of the problem that we have. First of all, introspection, then choose what we want and how we want to achieve it, because without which then it's not going to make any sense. And this is not a one-day affair, truly. It's going to be long, it's going to be torturous, and some people will start it, will probably not finish this journey. But we must decide what to do, plant the seed, keep going, knowing that sometimes you might plant a seed and you will not even enjoy the shade of the tree. So that's it. Ayo, I think people have said a few things in the comment section. I'd like to hear what they said. Then we come back and listen from Wallace, I think. Then we go to KD Lee and then Pauline.
Thank
Then
you so much.
Miriam.
Thank you so much. And I love how Wanyama has injected. Amesema tu kweli, you know. Question is, lazimanga tujiulize. Other than me coming on spaces and complaining, what have I done? Look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, personally as a you, we umedu, before criticize watu wengine, we umedu, before you tell my politicians, nini. It's one thing to come on this, like I said when we were beginning this space. It's one thing to come and rant. You're giving the speakers the power to speak. Then you just rant and drop. And it's another thing to come and listen and engage and say, guys, how can we do this? How can we speak solutions? Because we know where the problem is. So can we speak solutions more? Yeah, and I learned from my mentor that once you start looking at the bottle as half full, then you look for the rest of whatever component you need to fill it up with. So 28 minutes ago, at Kanda Wale said, ask Wazalendo to go test the Mkura public participation portal and lead by example. This is the first step to blockchain solution and an unriggable election system at the 6th at Bizarre 254. Thank you so much, Wallace, for injecting. John Chebi at Chebi_Joan 11 minutes ago said, true talk. The passion and vision that Kenyans have for their country is truly one of a kind. I wish our leaders and stakeholders shared the same dream. May his vision be achieved. It's all about our mindset. But let's continue fighting and standing united. True talk, I completely believe. At Esther Malika said 28 minutes ago that the only option is keep the pace. We are on the right track. Our country must be put in alignment since no alignment at the moment. We have a crooked path, poor economy in our nation. Very interesting. At J. Ceremony said, interesting points. COK 2010, the Constitution of Kenya 2010 is perfect conceptually, and but the way the powers were arranged is inconclusive. Even yet, a liberal constitution requires society to be strong enough to limit government. New article dropping tomorrow morning. Happy birthday, Katiba. Thank you so much, John Seremani. KD, I think we had KD earlier, 32 minutes ago, said the moment leaders came on board respectively, they became compromised by the state, either being bought or abducted. Leaderless was not a form but strategy. John Chebi added again and said, kindly address the university fees issue. Hii mambo serikali inasema italipa hii na hii is conmanship. Probably one of you would love to address the fees issue. I believe we've addressed it in a few spaces before, probably yesterday, the day before yesterday, and the day earlier. Rambira, Engineer David Otunga says, Rambira Construction Company, okay, sawa, he was advertising himself. John Seremani again said, unpopular opinion, we can't go back to the streets bila plan, bila organization, and bila goal. Demos is nuclear option. Revolution C ya street peke. Right now, let us build a massive civic education machine that will eventually culminate into a political solution of 20 million plus votes. I completely agree. And the comments go on and on and on and on. I was just trying to sample a few. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 1:45, top of the hour, 10 p.m. East African time. We are on Mizani 254 space. Today we decided to conjoin ourselves together. That is, Wanyama, Keoti Sonko, Ayo the Sixth, Obed's here. And we decided that, it's been a long time we've been divided on spaces. You find a space speaking on the same thing. We have 7 spaces speaking on the same thing. That is the division these politicians want us to be in. And we don't need to be in that, that confusion anymore. So we decided to conjoin our heads together. Sauti ya Mwananchi, Mizani 254, and we speak from the same voice. And that is how I want us to keep on looking at this country and take it forward, by coming together, speaking from one pool, speaking from the same voice, conjoining our ideas together and saying, guys, let's do A, B, C, and D. Instead of putting our egos in front of us and trying to say that me and my people. It is not you and your people. It is us as the people. We, the people, need to start speaking in one voice. I want to call upon Mariam. Mariam, good evening from where you come from. And from Mariam, I'll go to Pauline. And later, Engineer David. Engineer David, I see your hands. I haven't heard ladies' voices on this space for quite some time. So let's go.
Maybe that's okay, but I think my apologies. You forgot
Go ahead.
Wallace.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we had Wallace.
So Wallace, and then we have Pauline, and then Mariam.
Mariam,
I have not.
okay.
It's just that we had already queued them to speak. My apologies for any.
Sorry about that. Apologies too. So Wallace, you can go, Pauline, Mariam, then Engineer David. Is that in order?
Yeah, that's good. Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Give me 100 and okay. Oh, excellent. Excellent. It's good. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm about even to hop out to a Christian space around 10 p.m., which I'll be starting. But first, to congratulate you guys for coming together. We've been asking for this for a long time. I saw even Anthony was here a few minutes ago. I'm sure he mentioned of a forum where we've been asking for that as well. And I like thinking solutions. Thanks for reading my comment. We have already put up a public participation portal on it's called test.mkura.vote. One of our developers, by a good chance I can see, is even on the queue to speak. He will add some more technical stuff for you a bit later. But the idea here is this: the new constitution, today was Katiba Day, was designed to allow Kenyans to participate in their governance. But even at that time when it was launched, good to see you, Anthony. When it was launched, we've still been on what's called the Westminster model of governance, where we have to send a few representatives to a building to represent us. And we saw that they can go there, we tell them not to pass a bill, and they are our reps and they don't pass it. So we want to shift that model to using technology. We want to use a public participation technology that allows us to first meet, let's say, in a space like this as members of a ward, discuss an issue, prioritize them, go to this portal because it's blockchain, vote to prioritize the issues we want addressed by our MCA, that dimension of starting with the kunguni that is on your clothes, direct them what they will, by voting, them seeing the numbers of people in their ward that have voted to pass a particular issue in a particular direction. so that when they go, they're just going to rubber stamp what we, the people, have said. Because they know if they don't, they know the experience of being salimiwad. Even if it's not physical, flooding their phones. They know, we know where they live with us in the ward. So we want that to be now applied. Once people learn to use the portal, we'll start with national issues because we have not broken the software down to ward level yet. You have to begin national issues, which is like now what IABC, who is being passed in IABC, the seed issue. There are so many issues that are there for us to discuss nationally. But we want to break this thing down to ward, constituency, county, national. Kenyans will be able to speak into every pertinent issue based on where you live in Kenya, in your ward, your constituency, which county you live in, and of course, we are all living in the same country. So technology is going to be our solution. Blockchain systems, again, accountability is on the speaker, he can explain later, will allow us to even put that system in our KRA, in our treasury, so that every cent KRA collects, we know, everywhere that cent goes through treasury and is disbursed, we know. Same thing, we track our county government funds. And remember that time, as the people, we've already created a system where we are ordering them what to do in the county government. So we don't even, by the time 2027 rolls around, if we play our act right, we'll already be the people, we the people running the show. Running the show already. Technology will let us do that because we can meet any number in a space. But you know, when we try and say, MCA, we want to meet you in a particular church, how many of our ward people will be able to go there or have the time? We can have maybe people go there, either they stream the thing. Remember, every church after COVID developed their Facebook Live stuff. We do that. Then we agree we are meeting on this portal to vote. And this is what we have decided as a people. This is the majority vote. Ward, when you show up, this is what you will say. So let's shift the game. Let's shift things to technology. We are more than they are. We will outsmart them. They cannot rig blockchain. That is why Bitcoin is so expensive. You can't rig it. So if by 2027, we don't care who is in IBC. If blockchain is the one running our elections, and you can Google and confirm blockchain has run elections in other places in the world, this thing will be unriggable. Unriggable. So that's how we play this game. We shift to a level that they can't hack. They can't do any. And remember, blockchain has no central server. That's why they won't be able to rig it. There'll be no stories of open the servers. If you go test the portal right now, you'll see you are able to vote, see who has voted already right now, change your vote as long as the time window has not been closed. That's what we want for the public participation. That you can meet as a ward in your X space, say what are the issues. People have taken photos, whether it is an X, you know, X has its limitations. We're using Telegram. You can take photos, you can put videos. You say, I've seen there's this pothole. It's not been fixed. Your MCA is in that group also. Munamsomea hapo na munamwambia, according to the county budget, we have money for fixing this road. Who have you contracted? Give us a timeline. So let's first practice our public participation. Every Kenyan must be active. Don't complain if you are not voting. If you are not voting, if you are not engaging, if you are not activating this constitution, you shut up. Let other people do it for you. There is no uzalendo without participating. So because I want to go into into that other space, I told it's for a Christian space, but I am so happy to see you guys together. Please, let's keep this going. We've been saying we need a mega space once or twice a week. You guys just come together, pull us together, pass the same message. So I want to yield the mic. I want to appreciate this unity so much. This is what Kenya needs. And I've been, besides doing this public portal, I've been in the peace space before. I've been pushing for Kenya to come together since PEV, post-election violence. I'll even post a link to, we used to call it Kenyans for Change then. We got put on the UN. I'll put it in the comments. But ideally, please, this portal, go test it, spread it in your groups. One of our developers, I don't know where it's gone, accountability. If you have any questions, I would have asked you would have asked me now, but I just have to go start the other space,
Wallace.
Christian space. Then
Wallace,
Yes.
before you go, under the guidance of Obeds, just allow me like a minute extra to ask Wallace a question. Wallace, you've really advertised this platform so much. I've had you in spaces, but I want to ask you a question. You know the political landscape in Kenya. You know the voting patterns in Kenya. You know the people who vote in Kenya. You know the people who are always lured to vote in Kenya. The mamambogas of today, the fundi wa viatus of today, those people in the shags and all that kind of stuff. Do they know anything about a blockchain system? Under a minute, just help me understand how you can incorporate them in this blockchain system. Because trust me, I'll tell you for a fact, me and my readership and how much I've gone to school, I still struggle to understand the blockchain system. What about that? My mother back in Shags, how can we help them understand this?
Very good question. Now, number one, we are starting with the tech savvy, because in every system you want to do, you begin where you are with what you have, the easiest to reach market. The goal is testing the system for now on public participation, being ready by 2027 to implement it in an election system. Now, during an election time, even old folks in Ushago didn't know how to use the KIMS kit. There's going to be what's called assisted voting. You can even have, like the way a grandparent would go. They voted last time, and remember we had fingerprints to swipe. Remember, it was quite a chore. There are times you would swipe. If the system doesn't pick you up, then you have to go to the book. That assistance, that level of assistance is what you do now for this kind of system. So by then, the KIMS kit can become like almost like an ATM machine, where you go and you push the person you want to vote for, okay? And the blockchain picks it up from that point, because it has to be digitized for it to be secured. So assisted voting will happen then. For now, what we want is, because we have so many people on young people, Kenyans, on WhatsApp, on social media platforms, on Facebook, on X, on Telegram, on TikTok. A lot of young people are on TikTok. Because all those can start the participation, we get that going fast, because you can't start with everybody at your pilot stage. Pilot stage is to test the system, make sure it's robust, make sure it's solid, make sure everybody understands it. They will pass the message down. M-Pesa began with people in the city. It reached the people in Ushago, because by the time you gave it to your grandmother, Kamulikamuzi, you told her, I'll be sending you money on this thing. This is how you go remove it. Go to the shop. If you don't know, I'll call that person. That's what I mean. So for now, because we're in pilot phase, we want everybody that is tech savvy, mobile phone savvy, smartphone savvy, to be confident this thing is 100%. And it's open source, which means anybody can check the code to make sure there's no monkey business happening in it, whether they're in Kenya or abroad. So that's how we'll keep it simple. For now, testing. Before that time, there'll be a plan to assist our grandparents, people who are not tech savvy. They have a Kamulikamuzi. But for us, if even possible, by then we will have a mobile app that you can even go, as long as you enter the geofence of the Wi-Fi geofence of the polling station. You'll be able to go there. The system recognizes your phone is there. Remember, blockchain locks you. Okay, I don't want to talk a lot of tech stuff, yeah? But it confirms you're the person, you are alive. It lets you vote from within the polling station area. Remember, they use Wi-Fi anyway to even send the results to the old IEBC. They are being sent by mobile, remember? So, by internet. So, once you vote, it knows you're alive, you voted, it locks your vote, story kwisha. Those guys who are old, they don't know, they have IEBC people there to assist. IEBC person can help you to vote, but they can't manipulate the vote, which is what happens now. People go vote, we leave the station, we trust the accounting, monkey business. Ballots are switched, etc. I hope I've answered your question.
Umejaribu. Umejaribu kujibu, lakini sitaki kukupeleka back and forth.
When I have more time.
Sitaki kukupeleka back and forth, lakini na feel, unajua, acha nikwambie kitu. Mu feel watu wa IT wanga world yao. Unajua watu wa IT wanga tu venye wana reason, wanga tu world yao. Wana expect kitu unaelewa kila kitu. Una get? Mala imenika sisi. But oh well, ni sawa.
Nakuja space, because I usually attend your spaces anyway. Nakujanga Sauti ya Kenya. I sometimes visit Kibe with Anthony. We are in many. I come to Mizani's. Nakuja niulize maswali. I come to KOT. Nitakuja in case mna swali, we can have more time to go back and forth, but for now ni vile hata imefika saa 4. I'll just hop out, but I'll be in your space, be sure.
I think what
Asante.
we'll do is we'll probably make an arrangement to have you. So Ayo, I give it back to you.
Thank you,
Then
thank you.
Pauline on cue, and then Curtis Sonko's hand is up.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. I hope you guys can hear me. Ndio nimefika nyumbani bana. I'm sorry I dropped off. Simu ilizima. Siku notice simu ilikuwa 3% nikijoin space. But I'm home currently and nimesikiza wale akiongea hapa. I wish angekuwa hapa tufikiria wote because personally I'm a tech guy but yangu ni analog, yeah. He's a tech guy and he's using digital solution. So personally I'm a tech guy but I'm using that analog solution so that Ayo venye amesema akina mama mboga mama fua wakushona viatu, hatusemi ati those guys are fools but of course we are far much ahead in terms of technology as compared to most of them. And personally I felt like the blockchain system, it's a good system but now some people will be left behind, yeah. But now we can still have a blockchain but in an analog form whereby we want to reach out to so many people across the nation. Now we need to come up with strategy. Strategy number 1 is we identify the number of counties we are having now here in Kenya.
Is it?
Obed, wezi nisikia ma? But
No, I can hear you now.
Okay. So I think we should come up with a way of reaching out to so many people huko nyumbani mashinani, even in just a blink of an eye, whereby we need to identify the number of counties we are having. Currently we are having 48 counties, 47 counties in Kenya, and the other county it's called diaspora. So we are having 48 counties. So at the county level we need to identify people who are so vocal, yeah, and can reach out to people. So for example, now in the 47 counties here in Kenya, we identify at least 2 people per county at the county level. After that, we go meet these people, yeah. After meeting them, we'll tell them exactly what we want to do. We want to reach out to people in the villages. But how are we going to the villages? So after incorporating these 47 people times 2, because I think we need to have at least 2 people per county, we now task them to look at the number of sub-counties they are having in their counties. For instance, I like to use an example ya county ya Wanyama, Bungoma County. Bungoma County has 11 sub-counties. So if you are having 2 people at the county level, they now identify other 2 people in each sub-county, yeah? So after identifying other 2 people in each sub-county, we task them. Tunawaambia sasa nyinyi ni kama leaders wa these sub-counties, yeah? You are the people who will go to the ground to look for people and bring them on board, yeah? So after getting people in that level, we go deep to the ward level, yeah? So when we are doing mobilization, I think we should be doing mobilization on ward basis. Tuseme now in Mombasa County we have Chuda ward, we have Tononoka, we have Mjambere ward. So we mobilize at the ward level, yeah? Tunapata at least per ward watu kama 100 ama 200 hata 300. We can do that, yeah? And then now we make that blockchain venye mnaona each ward watu fulani, each ward watu fulani, yeah? After making that mobilization, mtu atakuwa anaangalia ni mtu ako kwa hapo kwa nini kwa sub county. So huyo ndio mtu mnapea pressure kabisa. We want this number of people. We want to do this. We want to meet at a certain place. We want to offer civic education to those people. Yeah. So mimi nikisha kuja na watu wangu watano, Ayo pia atakuja na watano. Hao watu wayo watano watakuja na watu wengine tena watano kila mtu. Yeah. At the end of the day, yeah, the thing we want to pass a message to each and every person. So we have the youth league, we have the women's league, na pia sijui wababa wanaekwanga wapi, but we can also have wale watu wanakunywa busa kabisa, they have their own league, so that when we want to go meet watu wakukunywa busa mahali, Eli naona unacheka, we go there with the information yenye inawatouch hao wenyewe, because there is no way utaenda kwa watu wa busa uanze kuelezea kukuambia sijui mambo na
Story ya
fees,
maziwa.
yeah, ama kuwapatia story ya wine, kuwapatia story ya church. No, when you go to church, speak the language that the worshippers, the believers understand. When you go to the youth league, speak the language yenye hao vijana wataelewa. Yeah. When you go and meet akina mama mboga, waambie hizi mboga hata kama mnazitoa huko mashambani kuzileta huku sokoni, kuna njia yenye mnatumia. Hiyo njia imewekwa lami? Hapana. Imewekwa maram? Hapana. So what do we do? We have to come together as a people, as mama mboga. We push for our government, yeah, to ensure that hii njia yenye inatoa mboga huko Mshomoroni ikileta town imewekwa lami, yeah. After that, go meet teachers. Ukishakutana na walimu, speak the language that the teachers understand. Waulize hii klasi yenu, hata wewe ukifunza hapa, do you feel like this environment is a conducive environment to offer education to these young men and young women? Atakwambia hapana. Now what do we do? Let us push the Ministry for Education to ensure that we are having good classrooms. We are having good desks in our classes. We are having good blackboards and the whiteboards. We are having good lockers. That language teachers will understand, and they will insert pressure hapo kabisa, rather than kuenda kuambia walimu sijui mambo na nini, something that it doesn't concern them. It doesn't concern the environment that wanaishi. So we need to identify people na classes zao. Angalia, ayo is a journalist. We call journalists pamoja, yeah, tunauliza, you guys, whenever you are coming to the streets, pia nyinyi mnakuwa you are suffering because a police officer whenever they are firing those canisters, hawatajua inaenda kuhit a protester or a journalist. So what do we do? Yeah, the solution we are offering, it's a solution that will protect the journalists. So guys, I think it's high time now we put our differences aside. We come up as a united people, as a united nation, as the youth. Najua most of us here sisi ni youth. Most of us 100% sure that 90% of people who are on this space are the youth. Wenye wako in that age bracket from 36 to 100 ni wachache sana. So let us come together as the young people, as the Gen Zs, as the millennials, and some Gen X wenye hutu support, and now start to identify people depending on their classes, so that tukienda ku offer civic education huko mashinani, let us not miss a point. I think that's the blockchain mi naweza tumia. It's a very analog blockchain, but it will help us now to reach out to each and every person, yeah. So I don't have much to say. Ndio nimelog in venye nimwambia simu yangu imekuwa imezima. Hata I just went on my WhatsApp and found out that I was having a meeting, but I never attended because of some few reasons. But we are together, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Koti, and we appreciate you coming aboard. I know you've been injecting. I have to learn how to use that word because I never inject. I just speak my mind. Probably I need to fashion my language when it comes to digital activism. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know we really spent into time, and therefore I will allow the ladies who have been very patient with us to speak their mind. Maybe wao ni mama mboga, lakini sidhani kama ni mtu ya bodaboda. Let's start with Pauline. Pauline, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mizani, Ayo, KOT, and the rest of the Kenyans here. I'm logged in from the 48th county. Actually, I wanted to echo what KOT has said. He has said a lot. And my concern has always been, as Kenyans, we really do know those people who tend to vote for our government. They are the people pale mama mboga, mtu wa busaa, mtu wa kuchoma mahindi, and the boda guys. Sijakuwa nikipata usingizi kwa kuwa I've been so disturbed as to how, with this way KOT has put it, for me it was like, how can we reach out to these people? Because these individuals are the ones who are the weakest links to these politicians. Those are the people who will be given 100 shillings, 500 shillings to do bullshit stuff. And at the end of the day, nothing will be solved because that is the larger population. So, as KOT has put it, and many of the people in this space, my point is to just echo this. Like, we really need to go out there. But mimi nilikuwa nashindwa nifanyeje? How can we reach out to these people? Yes, we can have these spaces, but that person at the busa hub pale, ule mtu wa pikipiki, how watu wengi hata hawana, I'll just speak Swahili for now, hawana hata simu, let's say smartphone hivi. We have amazing ideas, amazing points, but we find that these people in the villages, in these marginalized places, and that's where we have the votes. Wanakuja wanaambiwa, siku ya election tuchape suki from A to Z. And that's why you see we have a big problem. My question is, how can we have a strategy? I've been trying, I've been not having sleep because I'm thinking a lot. Like, how can we strategize on this? How can we reach these people? Is it, if we go out there, civic educators, if they go out there, are they protected well enough? Do we have the ground support of these people? I remember I lost an aunt recently at Mama Lucy Hospital. I got so angry because apparently it was because she didn't have oxygen. And the other time, not so long ago, I was in Nairobi Hospital. Sometimes I was in Nairobi. And I was like, wow, this class difference. So for me, it's always like, how can I make that Mama Mboga understand this is what is happening in your country? This is what's happening to us as Kenyans. It does not matter because most of the times when I speak with someone from home, they're like, in serikali, we can't challenge these people. But then I'm like, you don't say you can't challenge these people. Wameuzio woga sana. Let's say there's an AP. I grew up in Nairobi. I had a chief around me. I had some APs quarters there. They really lived shitty lives. And then when you try to go into them, they're like, oh, we can't challenge the government. But how can we inject these people to understand it's our taxpayers' money that has these people in power? How do we drive sense into them? We can use examples. We just show them examples, like real examples. It's what is really happening and what is what's affecting them. That road, like Yoti said, that road, let's say that hospital, that school without desks, let's say that bus stop, you don't have a bus to take you to, I don't know, wherever you want to go. How do we let these people know that these are real situations? And it's not that we are against the government, we're not against the politicians, but what we are against is bad leadership. Why do we have so many people continuously being elected, continuously being appointed in this amazing huge posts who are supposed to be governing us, but they continue to embezzle, and people continue to say, oh, ni serikali. It does not make sense. Let's take an example like pipeline. Not so long ago, I was in pipeline. Nikajuliza, these people will say, oh, I'm in Nairobi, this is not my county, I don't care. Sewage is literally running on their doorstep, and what they can say is, tumezoea huku haya maisha tumeyazoea. I'm like, you can't be saying haya maisha tumeyazoea ilhali there's an MCA living just next to you, Tena Estate, having you so close to him. It's an advantage that people don't know how to say it. So to me, it's like, how do we get to have these people understand that it's not the Sirikali, rather than it's them, and these are the people who have the votes. That's where we have the votes. We could be talking on a daily basis, saying on these spaces, let's do this. But how many are we in here? It's out there that we need to sensitize and tell these people that, you know what, this is what is happening and this is how we're going to shape this out. They see people like in the buses, the civic educators, in the public matatus, people just laugh it up. It's like nothing. But these are real situations. These are people risking their lives, going out there, speaking out, but no one is daring to like say, okay, tumekusikia. But then the other time you see people cheering at Kalonzo, oh yes, we're gonna be safe. These people have been in government, but what have they done for us? So how do we sensitize our people? I'm speaking this from a point of concern, from a point of distress, and from a point of anger, because I'm like having all these confusions in my head. I'm like, how am I supposed to stand for my Kenyan people, these Mamamboga, because they are suffering. Literally, I lost my aunt, and she was like, "Ah, you always say a lot of things. You don't care for your life." I'm like, "No, but she died. Why?" She was denied oxygen at Mama Lucy Hospital not so long ago. So I'm like, how do we make these people understand? And that's the mind boggling issue right now for me. I'm always thinking, in as much as, yes, I can make trips every now and then, but I'm like, how will that Kenyan understand that this is a real issue? You could talk all day about this blockchain thing, but how do we really talk to our people to really understand that we are being affected, and it's you and I. We will be told suit you from A to Z. That's why we have the executive pocketing the legislature. Because why? That's what they say. That's what they do. You can't fight against your own person, and they will protect themselves to sleep. So I feel my time is up, but that's all I had to say, guys. And thank you so much for this opportunity to air my sentiments. And yeah, thanks again, and have a good evening, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pauline. Many questions there on how do you free a slave who does not understand the R1. Mariam, I see we have lost you from the call. Quite unfortunate, but I'll give opportunity to Esther Muthui to make her statements. Esther, good evening. Esther, can you hear me? Good evening.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear
Yes,
me?
kindly proceed.
Okay, asante sana Mizani for this opportunity and chance.
Esther, pardon me. Do
I
you
think
have
you
headsets connected or your power charge? You have some interference in your line.
can you hear me right now?
Yes, we hear you, but there's some interruption in your line.
Okay, may I drop and then come back? I don't know what is happening, but I don't
Please do, please do. You probably have your charger connected or something, or your headsets. Um,
No.
are you clear now, Esther?
Can you hear me maybe right now?
Proceed. Esther, kindly proceed.
I think Esther amedrop. Wacha tungoje arudi tuende kwa mtu mwingine tukingoja arudi.
Sawa. I think Ayo, we want to save on time and see if we can close this at the mid. At 11 p.m. I'm hoping we can be able to do that. We know you've had a long day, and you'll be planning other spaces tomorrow morning. So we'll do our best to manage the time. And therefore, I want to take the opportunity to welcome all of you who are coming in for the first time. We're looking at the state of the nation and simply asking who is shaping the conversation. So, the conversation shapers is our topic as we reflect on this country 14 years later with a constitution that we believe was supposed to change how Kenyans are governed, but also enjoy both the social, economic, and political advantages that comes with that constitution. I have with us online Ayo, the 6th. I don't know why he calls himself that. One of these days, I'll find a bond to chill with him and discuss that. KOT Sonko has been very, very vocal on the ills that this country is facing, especially after lecturing the president. Actually, KOT, I need to get the guts that you have. But the thing you talked about, Busa, and Pauline here was concerned. You and I can be given that opportunity. We come from a region that has no problem consuming busa. So probably we will discuss that when time allows. Anthony Muridi, thank you for being here, among other speakers. So let's move the queue and go to Engineer David. Good evening. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening to you, Mizani. Thank you for this opportunity. At Mizani, I would like to contribute to this topic of today, just based on two subtopics. No, on approaching to this State of the Nation conversation, I would like to divide it into two, under two initiatives. We have the Punguza Mizigo initiative, and the other one we have is a Sauti ya Mwananchi initiative. Under Punguza Mizigo initiative, I just like to say the following: that there's no need of public of the members of the public, as we are concerned. There's no need for the government to hold so many offices for nothing they are doing for. I believe nothing that those offices are doing for the citizens. For examples, there are so many people who are working in the government, but their services could not be seen at all. We don't see any fruit from them. You can say, I've been into this space for 1 year, for 1 hour. You're just hearing from different speakers speaking, and comments coming from the comment section. And I could say the following, just on my opinion, that we need to, as the government, as the people of this country, we need to pressure this government to reduce the number of people working on the public sector. And then under Sauti ya Mwananchi initiative, I would like to encourage us, guys. It's not only speaking here and not taking an action. It is necessary for the common Mwananchi to take an action. And take an action is you take anything that you have, or you take an action. Or taking an action is you can approach any office if you know very well that office is not offering the services you are that it is rendered to. You are supposed to go to that office. You are supposed to go there in queues or in any other way, so that you can protest. You just find a way of speaking to speaking to the rotten government, so that those who are holding those offices should be accountable for what they have done for this economy. We know very well our economy is really going down, and even today I was somewhere that even you could even see the so-called people from Mtaani. We have people. We don't only look at people those who are taking changas. We also have those people who are not. We say wale ambayo kichwa ni mbaya in Kiswahili form. Wale ambayo akili si timamu.
Let me help you.
Yes.
There is nothing like kichwa ni mbaya. I think you're talking persons living with a disability and have mental challenges.
Yes.
It's actually a sickness.
Yeah.
People are not
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
have bad heads, quote unquote.
So those people, they are also just wondering, which kind of government is this? The government that promises bread and brings water. So they are not satisfied by the services of the president and all his team. So they are saying, in short, the team should go home. And I also suggest that this team should go home. But just by saying that one, we need to take an action. Taking an action is, we don't form any political party. Yes, forming political party, I know very well. People
Engineer David,
will be divided. Yes.
allow me to engage you. I love the
Yes.
fact that you say we can't just have all talk and do nothing, but I also
Yes.
would love to understand when you talk about public service that is overbloated, and
Yes.
you say there are offices that are not delivering, without
Yes.
throwing a complete blanket on everything, do you
Yes.
mind highlighting some of these specific offices that are
Yes.
public and in your perception or in your analysis you find they are not serving the interests of the Kenyans?
So let me just start to Mr. Likuyani, Eli Likuyani. Let me just start with the one perfect example. One perfect example of this case is I know all of you know immigration offices, Nyayo House, very highly corrupt office. The other time, I know that office is headed by the director. The director of that office, somebody I don't want to shout the name here, but the director of that office is very corrupt, and I think that person should just go home. Nothing is doing in that office. All what he did last year, where I was, and I was a witness, eyewitness, and even have sensitive footages of those officers.
But you see,
They are
David,
not producing.
David, hold
Yes,
up, hold up.
yes,
Sorry,
yes,
David, I have to cut you short. You know,
yes,
you understand the current state of the country, right? And right
yes,
now, people like Akina Morara are going on the ground and mentioning names as they are.
yes,
The other day, me and my team, we released a song and we mentioned these people. Okay,
yeah,
so you can't come
yeah.
here and say that, oh, I won't mention names. That means if you can't mention names, you're part of the problem. We are trying to be
Let me.
part of the solution here. Mention names so that we
Okay,
can keep these people accountable. You know, this is not
Mister.
some sort of, just a moment, hold up. This is not some
Yes,
sort of vineyard whereby I'm going to tell a girl, I know what your boyfriend did, and I can't tell you
yes,
what he did with who. You know, so here is these
yeah,
are serious matters. So if you
yes,
know that Ayo is
yes,
corrupt, mention Ayo.
yes,
Ayo, you are corrupt because you embezzled 70 million Kenyan shillings from wherever and from this office, and you are not
yeah,
fit to hold public office. So that we don't
yeah,
get to elect Ayo again, or we get to keep Ayo accountable. You understand? So
yes,
kindly just try and don't play that rat race game with us here. We mention names
yes.
here and we keep people accountable. That's why we hold these
So
speeches.
Mr. Ayo, we have this person, director of immigration. His name is Mr. Munyao Charles Munyao. You know that person very well. What he did in my project, as you can see my profile, I'm a construction engineer by the way. But what he did in my project when I was registering a project, imagine immigration officers coming to just to harass me when I was on my service to my client. So what they asked me was small money. This small money was coming out to be 3 million that the developer decided not to pay them. So these guys, they just went to the owner of the Share Park. The owner of Share Park is the owner of Mr. Apartments, Westlands. No, if you know Westlands very well, that project is so-called Misty Apartments. The owner and the owner of Share Park is the same person. So they went. That person told him, "We want you to give us 3 million, or else we are stopping your project." So I had to come in to help this developer so that these people could not be given this money. So what happened is when they found out that a Kenyan is here, this person just went on another way to bring on police just so that they could just come and tear gas me on ground with my construction team so that they can get that money. So they arrested me and took me to Bilimani locals. Then after 2 to 3 days, I don't know what they talked about with another with another third party who just persuaded them to go and withdraw that case from the Bilimani locals.
So
Mr. Ayo, I think that,
I know we are running out of time, but this is quite a tangent to what we are discussing, Ayo. Just to have closure, your client, how do you have an interaction between immigration and a developer? Is this developer an international, how you call it, investor, or what was their connection to immigration. Maybe you can clarify that, and then we can close this talk as of now. David.
What happened was this developer comes from China. This developer, he comes from China, Shanghai city
And why
of China.
was he being asked to give 3 million? I'm assuming it's a
So
he.
this guy came. They were asking for the developer to give them 3 million so that they could go and sign. There was this how do you call it? When you come from outside, when you come from when you're a foreigner in Kenya, there's some visas you are supposed to sign. So this guy, what they did was there's somebody who was coming out from who was coming in from China at JKA to JKA from China. So when they realized this person was coming from China to come and visit this site, so that he could append his signature for the construction process to begin, they decided to go and block that person from entering Kenya so that they could be given money.
And this person had the documentation that would allow him to come, A, through our ports. I'm assuming the visa. 2, was it a working visa? Did he have working permit and all this? I mean, I don't want to digress. All I'm simply saying is thank you for those issues you're raising, but I love to handle this at a later stage. Ayo, with your permission, I don't want to go through that side because you know how I will inject you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you so much, Engineer David, for your sentiments. And sorry we had to cut you short because we are running out of time also. And it's we almost 30 minutes to the close of this space. And I want to give each and every speaker equal time. And please stick to the topic. Do not digress. Don't go out of the topic. Let's stick to, state of the nation issues here. And under 3 minutes, you're out. We move on. If you want to rebuttal your comment, we will. If nobody's interested, we'll move on. Kindly, let's stick to the time. That is the first step. I think I'll go to Dennis, then the real Joe, then Richard for now, then Anthony later. Dennis, please, if you're there, talk to us.
Hello and good evening.
Good evening to you. Talk to us, please. How are you?
Thank you very much. Thank you for hosting this space on the State of the Nation, Conversation Shapers. My name is Dennis from Nakuru County. I came in a little late, but I had people talking about basically discussing how to go about educating the masses. And I'd like to just speak about my experience and what I've been doing. So me and my friends came together decided to start Twitter space for Nakuru County. We hold it every Friday at 8 p.m. and we discuss matters of Nakuru County. During the week, we participate mostly through, because they say politics is local. So what we've been doing is that we have ensured that we are at least quite a number of the most influential WhatsApp political groups in Nakuru County.
Is it only me or we lost Dennis?
We lost him.
Okay. Dennis, fix your microphone. You'll be back in a few. Since we're trying to save time, let's go to is it the real Joe or Richard? I'm lost. Whom did I call first?
You had hinted on Richard.
Richard, okay. Richard, 3 minutes. Go ahead, please.
We had the real Joe Ayo, but it's fine. I'm happy to go ahead. So I don't know if you guys can hear me. I'm having a bit of challenges with my mic, but I hope you can. So the first thing I'd want to say...
100%. Go ahead.
Yes. So the first thing I'd actually want to say is on the state of the nation. I think looking back to where we've come from, especially with the protest we had, demonstrations, whatever you'd like to call them, was actually
this sentiment before, one thing we have to accept is this movement ran its course for whatever it could actually be able to do. And going forward, we'd have to sort of rethink on how we'd want to come back, because politicians have just decided to be politicians as they've always been in this country, whereby they'd always advocate for their own agenda. Somebody has called them political cousins. You know who that is. So at the end of the day, the political class has shown us that they will always band together when they have their own interest at stake. When the movement was happening, we were playing our own game with our own rules. We had the chessboard and we had the strategy. When they understood how we were playing, they actually tried every other single way to infiltrate this movement. And I made this argument on some space and somebody dismissed me, actually said where they beat us is how they shaped the narratives, whereby they brought in CSs, we debated the CSs who are there, oh, we don't like this person. And over time, we actually lost focus and sight. I just want to move on fast forward and say this. The problems this country has are so many. Like Kenya is just messed up on so many fronts. But when you had the Finance Bill 2024 and you're saying reject Finance Bill, that was just one issue at a time. I don't think the issue is even that civic education as much. When Finance Bill was happening and guys were rallied around an idea, things actually happened. The only thing I'll challenge us here and ask us is, what is the issue? Let's bring out the issue. The problem is not organizing. The problem is not bringing people on board. LSK were at the forefront helping to release guys who are wrongly abducted or put into police cells because there was an issue at hand. The problem is not even crowdsourcing or having people to come and support. The thing here is, what is the issue? The moment you understand that at a strategic level and push for an issue and push it, you'd have the media come on board. When the Gen Z movement was happening, they had nothing to report. So no one else will come and push and propagate an issue to us. I know there's a bit of issues specifically with guys online on who's leading what and that. Perhaps I think we've learned our own lessons we passed that. The only thing I'd actually want to say is to everybody who's listening tonight, what is the issue we want to advocate for post Reject Finance Bill 2024? We have so many things that we can actually rally around. If the issue is recalling of MPs, then let's push for that. And you'd have guys on TikTok or whichever places they be, people would actually come and listen. Not every other person is a strategizer. Not every other person is a builder or an inventor of ideas. Most people, especially the masses, follow and rally around an idea. And you'd always realize this, historically speaking, if you check how movements have actually happened, people always rally around an idea. So the only thing I'd actually get to say is, let's not expect that we'd all sit down in a room and bring every person on board. No, that's not how Reject Finance Bill happened. We had a pressing idea, people voiced it, the numbers grew, and that thing morphed into something else. That is how you have ideas pushed, especially when you want to involve the masses. And politicians have mastered this art. And that's why they always come to weekends and, in funerals and raise an idea and go around the country and they actually propagate it. So I don't want to speak much, but I think I'd want to stick to this point tonight and say, the issue here is, what idea do we want to propagate for? And the good thing is we have the numbers with us. The politicians don't. So if we've decided that Ruto will not have sleep in State House for as long as he can, then let that be the idea we actually rally around, because there is a bit of fatigue you can actually get to understand. And let's not blame each other. I think guys who've been in the movement actively on the streets and all that, we cannot blame ourselves, because Kenyans are not the kind of people who would protest for 3, 4, 5 months. They would need an idea. We rally around it, make it a quick mass action thing, done. That Kenyans' lifespan of fighting for an idea is roughly a month at most. I think, I'm sorry to say, but I'll just call us out and say, we never know how to push for an idea for too long. We just need to have the right momentum, the right idea, even if it's one issue. Tukisema, you know what? Respect. Sorry. respect chapter 6 of the Constitution. And that's what people would push for. So as I learned, Ayo, the only thing I'd actually want to encourage us is, let us decide and bring the issue. That's all we need to do. The rest of the things will align. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate your amazing sentiments. And I think now is where I bring in the real Joe. The real Joe, good evening. How are you? Under 3 minutes. Please don't overrun. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayo. I'm fine. Thank you for asking. So, state of the nation. We have a nation that is divided right now, according to me. We have a nation that is bleeding. We have a nation that is blood tainted. We've never, as a nation, reconciled completely. We have a nation that the rule of law has been disregarded completely, and we are operating in autopilot without law. We have a nation whereby we are being taken back to eras whereby people could not air their voices. We have a nation where abductions are going on in our country, and the head of state says he's not aware of any abductions. We have a nation where the deputy president keeps talking about interest of quote unquote Murima. We have a nation whereby we have a state house choir for a parliament. We have a nation whereby the police brutalizes citizens, young people, in the name of protecting their masters. We have a nation that is bleeding. We have a nation that is bleeding. We might even say we don't have a nation. We have a nation that is deeply rooted into corruption, from the national government to the county government. We have a nation that right now, as a people, needs saving. And that is what we are doing with these forums. We're educating each other, and we are trying to encourage each other to be able to save our nation. So guys, I will not talk so much today. I only urge you to tighten your seatbelts. It's going to be a long, bumpy ride, but we must achieve the victory. Thank you very much, Ayo.
Thank you so much for keeping it brief. I need people like you in this country. We will go very far. Anthony, you haven't spoken in a while, yeah?
Yes, Ayo. Today was a fantastic day for me. You know, having started talking to Mizani on the side about how we can all come together. So I really wanted to do what Wanyama had said, to listen more. And from what I've heard is that technology will play a major role in this, Ayo. Another thing I've realized is that actually when we come together, we have a very robust and productive talk. You know, it's like when the chefs come together to do one good meal. To land, I will say this. I've heard people saying, how do we get to the ground? And Wanyama had said, you are either an activist or a politician. Me, I'm the kind that wants to get to the ground. And I think in 2 to 3 weeks, we will be doing something on the ground. We were actually just mobilizing, putting our ideas together, and a few resources, some money here and there, so that we're able to hit the ground and start now engaging Kenyans and asking them, you know, Sisi, we are the people you've been hearing on Spaces. Now we are here to talk to you, get feedback, and make this conversation better and richer. Ayo, did you have any question for me?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
No.
I think we're just reaching the tail end. So I just wanted people to give us their final submissions as we move. And I think this is the moment I bring in Dennis. Dennis, I want to give you 2 minutes strictly. Do not overrun, please. Your final submissions as we wind up the conversation. Talk to us, Dennis. Dennis going once. Are you there? Okay, seems you're not there. This is the moment I bring in Binti Africa. Binti Africa is one of our co-hosts on Sauti ya Mwananchi, that we've been a baby that we've been bringing up smoothly and with its own challenges, but we are forging on. Thank you so much, Binti, for joining us here on the mic. Please speak to us. Good evening. How are you doing today?
Hi, Ayo. Hi, KOT, and everybody else on the speakers panel. Thank you for having me. I wanted to just point something out. To me, I heard there was a 48th county called the diaspora. I don't know what, so I've come to just expound on that. We have to be very careful when we're talking about the diaspora, because when you're looking at it from within Kenya, you just think like, oh, what's what Majusi, Nini, what's a diaspora? But once you step outside of Kenya, you are spread out in these little groups, like all over, like so many countries all over the world. So we have to take care of these people in terms of we're not one big group. Like, we're separated. We have different time zones. We have different rules, different laws, different ambassadors, different embassies. We have our own individual struggles. So grouping us into one might end up like not being like for the movement, in terms of my struggle might not be somebody else's struggle. Like, Australia is very different to the Middle East. The Middle East is different to Singapore. It's very different to Canada. It's very different to wherever, to South America. So the way that we're varied, we also have to make sure that we cater. Like, I heard Curtis saying like 2 people per county, the 47, not the 48. So how do we do it? Like, would we have 2 people per country, 2 people per continent, 2 people per just the whole diaspora as one? Because I don't think that's the best idea. We have to take care, because the diaspora has a lot of numbers, and these numbers are going to be very important when it comes to like recalling people, like when it comes to voting, when it comes to all these decisions that citizens make. Yes, we're all one people, but we need to identify that we're all different, and we have to cater for those differences. And yeah, I don't know. That's my point. And my question is, how do we do that? And thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Una inject huku nje. Anyway, I can see a Kenyan lady you just joined on the mic. Speak to us. It's unfortunate that you're coming at the tail end of the conversation. We've spoken about a lot of stuff. So let's have your sentiments as we even close. Talk to us.
Hi, everybody. Just give me 100% and I will continue. Thank you. So, asanteni sana, asanteni. I really, really I'm happy to hear that we are back into having these conversations. I really, really, truly appreciate this. And I can see people never left. You know, we actually never left. And the other thing is, KOT unanijua, huwa nasikiza when I have something to say, then I'll come in and I will talk. So I do know that you've been holding spaces, which will be like 10 a.m. my time, which is 8 p.m. at home. Am I right? KOT?
Yes, you're right.
So the spaces are 8 p.m., correct? Good. Okay. So yes, sijakosa sana na nikichelewa, bado I still show up. So there are 2 things I want to speak about. And Binti Africa brought something up about the segregation in the diaspora, and that's something that I would like also for it to be known in Kenya. We are very, very segregated. Okay, but Binti Africa, that does not mean that we cannot come together, because we cannot form solutions that applaud the segregation. You understand? We can be sound, and we can make good solutions, and we can actually come up with ways in which our watu wawili wenye KOT anasema can actually bring diaspora together. Because for the first time, what will be bringing us together is not what separates us. It will not be the boundaries. It will not be you're in Europe, you are in the US, you are in whatever. No, but Kenya, which is our common factor, is what's going to be bringing us together. So I think the 2 people idea is a perfect one, because we have to start somewhere. Sorry. Nimepotea. Did I speak over somebody? Is it okay? Can I go on?
Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Kenyan
am I
lady, you
speaking
can
or am I
proceed.
not?
Okay, Kenyan lady's back. Now I can hear her. Go ahead, please.
Where did I lose everyone? Can
So
somebody else speak?
just proceed. Just proceed. No, just speak. It's your turn. Just speak. We'll hear you.
Okay, yeah. So what I'm saying is the opposite is what is supposed to work for us, especially in the diaspora. Sababu we are coming together because of the common ground being Kenya. So the divisions from Ati, you are in Germany, you are in the US, you are in the other place. No. Let's start with those two people, and from there we can have the divergency if it will be needed. Because then again, there's a lot of privacy that's needed in these conversations. There's a lot of it's delicate where we are right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that was just a by the way, just to add on to piggyback on what Binti Africa said. Now I would like to talk about there are great ideas here about the blockchain, and I love listening to that. But my problem is how soon can that be implemented? And I completely love it. The manual, the whatever, the dial-up, whatever. But how soon is that gonna be implemented? Because there's an urgency. We need to start teaching, and we need to teach right now. Mr. Murara is teaching out there, but is that teaching able to get to my mom and my grandmother back in Shads? So I'm going to give you an example. Most of you who have had me on this spaces will know that I ran a maternal child health hospital in Dandora. And this is how we are able to reach to our women. And this is how it has been so easy for us to actually cut off on maternal deaths and the children death. The maternal child health is something that's very, very specific to my heart. So why don't you use what is in existence? Because what we did, we incorporated health into the already systems that are there. Text messaging. Okay, text messaging. There's a way you can form like a group messaging. We do this also for my other businesses and whatnot. So you formulate a text messaging system that will only go to a specific group of people, and it will have a specific message. So what we do, like for maternal child health, we remind people on the 6th month, this is what you're supposed to expect. Hey, you're supposed to be coming in for your appointment. Hey,
We lost you again. Sorry. I know you're speaking so much back there, but we lost you again. When you come back,
is everybody losing me? Though?
When you come back, start from when you said hey. That is where we lost you.
Okay. So why is everybody laughing? So y'all can hear me, right?
Actually, there's something interesting that you are mentioning, Kenyan lady, and that is on the blockchain conversation. I believe at one point, KOT, there's a gentleman that was here earlier on. I'm sorry for forgetting his name.
No,
We had agreed that we will, convene a different sitting to bring this thing and discuss it in detail. Otherwise, I'm afraid we are running out of time. So maybe you can touch on it quickly without going to the functionality, so that we can convene a different sitting to have a in and out of that talk. I don't know if that works for KOT, because he's the analog. He called himself the analog blockchain man.
Yeah, so there's that analog. Can you guys hear me? Because I feel like we are not even in the same conversation.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
We can hear you.
What I was trying to suggest is something different, because blockchain, you have to form the system from the get-go. You have to start that platform yourself. You understand? So what I was giving were the ideas which have worked for me using the systems that are in place already. Am I making sense?
Yes.
And that's how we came up with the health. That's how we do the M-Text. Like if you have a discount in the supermarket and you want a group of people who have not volunteer, but they have given their numbers, their phone numbers to the supermarket, you can always reach out to them when you have discounts. We send like a group text. For the maternal child health, we send like what wamama wenye tunajua wako around 6 months. Tunauliza maswali kama mtoto anafaa kukik mara ngapi, and they respond to you, and you will be able to tailor a message to educate them and tell them, hey, hapa hukujua, this is the many times that the kid is supposed to kick in. And if they don't respond, then you go looking for them or you call them to make sure that they have gotten that education. That's the shortest version of
Kenya
my
lady,
idea. Yeah.
what you use, is it the same as bulk messaging?
Yeah,
Where
it's
your people get a message? Bulk
yeah,
messaging?
we call it M-Health, but it is implanted into the text messaging system. It's a package you get from Safaricom.
Yeah, it's called bulk messaging services.
Yeah, something
Do
like
they,
that.
Kenyan lady,
Yeah.
there's something I'm working on that's going to go to the former 8 provinces so that we can do all the constituencies and all the wards.
Right.
I don't know whether, if you can DM me, because we can use what you're saying to be more effective as we are going down to the people. We use bulk messaging. I had not thought about it. I've used it, but I was not thinking in that line. Then me and you can have that discussion.
Yes, please. Let's use what we already have in place. That's what I'm suggesting, because it's gonna be cheaper and it's already embedded into our people. Itafikia nani, wakina nani, mama mbuzi, mama mboga, kila mtu, because we already have this system in place. So we utilize that first. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's what I'm suggesting.
Thank you, Kenyan lady. I think it's good that we already clear that at least liaise with Anthony, come up with something, and then when we're having the conversation around the blockchain and stuff like that, we can probably have this incorporated in it. And I would request that you land there if you don't mind. Ayo, with your permission, and KOT Somko, we had said we were going to close at the top of the hour. I would wonder, should I read some comments or we give final remarks?
Yeah, go ahead and read the comments with your final remarks. Then we go to KOT.
I'll just sample a few.
All right, it's okay. Go ahead, please. Thank you so much, Kenyan lady. Sorry we had to cut you short because time pia inaisha. Yeah. Obeds, go ahead.
Yeah, so I see Antonio Moro has a suggestion of, let me see, where is that? No, Oletunda. He said leadership suggestion. I give the idea of having a team from all walks of life, age, fields, and professions for advice on the direction we'll take when